Did you know that Kestra has support for LDAP? Organizations will store information about their users inside of directories, and what we can use LDAP to do is connect that directory to Kestra so you can log in with those users. I'm going to walk you through how you can get LDAP set up with Kestra so that you can start using your existing directory of users within your existing Kestra instance. To make this work, we need an LDAP directory running already. Now, what I've got here is my Kestra configuration that's going to use Postgres and the Kestra image to run, but I've also added an open LDAP container image here so that they can talk on the same Docker network. I've also added a number of environment variables here so I can specify my admin username and password, as well as what my root DN should be and my admin DN. Now, when we get down to the Kestra configuration, what we have here is under Micronaut and then security, we have the LDAP block. Now inside of here, we can specify how LDAP is going to connect and interact with Kestra. The first thing we're going to see is user attributes. And this is a Kestra specific thing that will allow us to work out how to map the LDAP attributes directly to the ones used inside of Kestra. In this scenario, that is our first name, last name, and email, which we're going to use the LDAP attributes of given name, surname, and mail. After that, we've got context here, which is specifying how we're best going to connect to LDAP. So that includes our LDAP URL. So in this case, the container called openldap, and then the port 1389. Typically, they run on port 389, so do double check what port your LDAP directory is running on. Then we've got the manager DN as well. So this just specifies where it is going to be organized inside of the directory. And of course, the password, which we specified above as an environment variable. After that, we've got search. So that's how we're going to interact with these users. And so I've specified the LDAP attributes I want to get, such as UID, given name, surname, and mail. And then I've also specified that we're going to be looking specifically at users here rather than something like groups. Filter here is important because that specifies how we're going to actually interact at the login page. Now, if we actually go to the Kestra login page, it actually asks for an email and a password. So this just makes sure that the username it's looking for is actually the mail property rather than the first name or whatever other property. Now that we have this, we can spin up Kestra, and now we can add a new user to see if this works. Now that we have that running, what we can do now is add a new user. And as you can see here on the right hand side, I've got an adduser.ldiff file here, which is going to specify some of those LDAP attributes that we want to then add to our directory, including things such as the given name, surname, the unique ID, and the common name, which are the same, as well as the mail that we're going to use to log in. So I can now add these to my directory using an LDAP add command, and then what I can do is then check if this works by logging into Kestra. So it's worth noting that when you log in here, we're going to be using the Kestra login page rather than a separate sign-in. This keeps things nice and simple, and it will then automatically query the LDAP directory to check that there's a user. If there is and the credentials are successful, it will then add that user directly to Kestra and then allow you to log in. So what I can do here is I've got jeff@kestra.io and my password is password7. If I press login now, we're going to see that it's going to log me into Kestra, and I now can check that I am now logged in as Jeff Bezos. I can also now go to the IAM menu and see that I have been successfully added with my first name, my last name, as well as the email address. As you can see, I've also got a number of different users here, which can all confirm that they've been logged in with LDAP. So this is useful to see which ones are from the LDAP directory and which ones were added directly from Kestra, such as the one at the bottom here, which was logged in using basic, so just connected via the Kestra login. Hopefully that gives you a good insight on LDAP integration with Kestra and how you can get set up with your LDAP directory. If you have any further questions about how this works, let us know in the comments below or join our Slack community where you can discuss with us there.